Hey guys, it's Aff here. So I believe I put my last, well, I was going to say my last video was a montage video. I'm not actually going to do a montage video. I think it's a bit of a lame last video to do, because I always do montage videos and I don't do any other videos. So the last one I will do an Irre guide, I guess. Now if you're an intermediate or higher, so if you're an expert at this game or if you're at least intermediate, you're not going to be learning much from this at all. This is physically for, well, literally for people who are new to the game. You might learn something new and how to build, but specifically this is how basically my little go-to guide for Irre. I actually want to start off with her stats. So her stats are 308 power, 351 technique, 374 vitality, and 344 speed. This means she has a natural amount of good vitality, which is pretty decent. Her technique is, you know, it stops her from getting reflex stolen from utility strikers. But her speed is also decent. Excuse me. So yeah, as you can see here, reflex, nothing, I haven't got any bonuses to the reflex, and that's the reflex. It's pretty good. Teamwork, I would take max HP, just because generally your backline will be lacking in HP totems usually, because you'll be trying to get as much CR as you can, especially versus those Miris. Miris tending to have very, very high crit rate. Yeah. Immunities, not too bothered about immunities. I mean, it goes straight to piercing wind immunity. Again, not too bothered about that. So let's go into skills. So skills, this is the basic block, the basic DR block. Actually, the fact that it got buffed so that it only costs half a spirit is so much better, so that she doesn't get one hit KO'd. I think that was one of the I guess main pointers to the reason why she's definitely the most, you could say, the most played Whirlwind goalkeeper now. Generally because BT is susceptible to one-hit KOs. Yeah, I do one-hit KO quite a few of them. And yeah, this stops Irre from getting one-hit KO'd, which is a very nice change for her. I know they aimed it towards Jhin, as Jhin needs a buff, really needs a buff, but this helped Irre immensely. Silent Winds increases max HP by 30% and crit resistance by 35%. This is quite basic. 30% is quite basic, and critical resistance by 35% is also quite basic. It's comparable to Lucian's ability. I don't remember which one it is, but again, it's quite basic. Gentle Breeze is actually really underrated. So in total, it increases defense by 60% when an enemy within the position makes a move. So this isn't like what's her name? This isn't like Alexa's, where only the line happens for her point blank. This is when anyone from the enemy team goes into your back line and they pass or whatever they're going to do. She immediately gets that 15% increase in defense. This is actually really underrated. It does negate a lot of damage. Thankfully, it's not too broken. It's not, you know, DR and defense. You know, thank goodness. But yeah, this is definitely one of her supporting abilities. So the next one is a bread and butter. Critical resistance by 60% and recovers HP by 20% HP when being shot at. So it doesn't make her a great PvE goalkeeper, as obviously it's when being shot at and not being attacked, which means she can't be holding the ball. As you saw, her technique stats generally were alright, so you could, if this was when she was being attacked, it means that she could also be a great PvE goalkeeper, because she has a lot of crit resistance as well. Unfortunately, that is not the case because it's only when being shot at. The crit resistance by 60% is immense, and this is by far her best skill in her entire kit. Her ace increases action speed by 20% and max HP by 25% for Whirlwind players, and with the ace burst gives action speed by 32% and max HP by 40% of Whirlwind players. This is okay. This is okay, but if you're using this ace, you don't know what you're doing. You either want to go fully defensive with an Irre, or you want to go extremely offense and kill them as fast as you can. This ace says here that you want the speed, but you're not giving enough damage. Here, if you wanted the speed, I would take Mayran's ace just for that 64% attack power, which is insanely good. Obviously, if you're Whirlwind, that is for the ace burst. If you wanted to go for something more defensive, unfortunately, Jin has the defensive ace, which is really nice. The HP and crit resistance ace. It's meant for Irre, but unfortunately, it's on Jin. I wanted to go onto the stones. So this blue here is actually a yellow. So yeah, I'll talk about those in a moment. I'll talk about that in a moment, but I'll talk about what stones to use. So in the green stones, you've got the option of, obviously, Whirlwind AS. You've got the option of Whirlwind DR. And I believe that is it. Yeah, that is literally it. So what are you looking at here? So you've got your two options of action speed and crit resistance, and defense and DR. Now you're like, oh wait, hold on a second. DR and defense, that's really good. Defense goes with the 60% defense increase, which is marvelous, and the increased DR is really good for filling in what she needs, which is DR. But actually, I found out that it's better to support what she's best at. So going for that speed, that crit resistance. Now, the other reason I like Fast Scuttle Cycle is because it gives her the speed to block, which means it gives your backline another attack. However, if you don't need the crit resistance, and your backline is generally relatively slow, or it's not a fast backline and it's generally quite a tanky backline, you'll probably be wanting to go into that DR and defense. I'll go on to that later. So, blues. I mean, blues is a no-brainer. I mean, you've got DR and Recover Spirit when attacked, and then you've also got the defense and crit resistance. Again, defense just tremendously helps with Gentle Breeze, and crit resistance is a no-brainer for Irre. For reds, if you've re-rolled it as a red, I find that you've again only got two options, which is the Ardor DR and the Reflex crit resistance. Personally, I wouldn't have this slot as a red unless if you're having problems with utility strikers such as Kirin or Ravian. Obviously increases your reflex and your crit resistance on a red reflex stone, which is nice to have. It is generally one of the nicest stones to have, and I wouldn't recommend that DR stone on that red either, as it gives co-op, and why would you take co-op on a goalkeeper? Right. What else? Oh yes, so that light stone. The light stone is awkward, and it's only got one use, and that is for a unique stone. But if you're running it out of unique stones, you need to be looking at that DR light or that HP light. Now usually you would run the DR light for obvious reasons, as there's no crit resistance light, and well, DR light is like the only option there. But you can run a HP light if you've got a nice substat, on your HP light. If you were to run dark, there's only one option there, which is the dark HP, which gives you DR when being attacked and also gives you HP, which is very nice. But yeah, I tend to find that Whirlwind and Thunderstones are the best for Irre. So with unique stones, it's a very big no-brainer. Well, not a very big no-brainer, but the substone is a very big no-brainer. But there are other options that you can always take account onto. Let's have a look at Ardor stones. So immediately with Ardor stones, with Irre, you're looking at only dense magma here. I mean, the crit resistance is nice, but you also get penetration resistance. So I'm going to tell you why dense magma should never ever be taken on an Irre. And that is because penetration resistance, you're not penetrating, well, you're not giving any penetration resistance on her whatsoever. Irre has almost no DR, so this is a completely wasted substat. Now you do not get this for a sub, obviously for the same reason, penetration resistance by 25%. It's not great. I mean, it's definitely the no-brainer one for other goalkeepers, except for other crit resistance goalkeepers. But for crit resistance goalkeepers, you want to avoid this because there's nothing to pen resist, unfortunately. With Whirlwind stones, you have the option of Pommy, Protection of Mother Earth. This is the go-to one, obviously for the 20% DR and the critical resistance by 25%. This is such a good stone. It's the most basic stone, but it's by far the best stone on any crit resistance goalkeeper, because you're filling out a bit of that gap of that DR, and you're also getting a bit of that crit resistance that you need, which is fab. The other options, of course, we're going to go into Stars tiers. Where are you? There you are. Increases defense by 35% and recovery by HP, so it recovers the HP by 15%, so 7.5 in PvP when being attacked. Stars tiers used to be really good when the defense was a lot higher. I believe it was 60%, which is pretty high. And yeah, recovers the HP. This is good because this supports her strengths. However, with this stone, unfortunately, you're going to be riced by heroes, by Damians, Griffiths, Shah. Who else does DI? You know, that sort of strikers, and Celis, Hammerus, etc. Because you're not giving any leeway for DR, and even though they're not going to crit you, they're going to deal about 1,800 to 2,000 damage on their shot, even with your active, and it's just, there's no point. But yes, this would be a very nice stone if somehow you could find some DR in other places. I don't believe there's Heart of Minerva. This is okay, but again, if you're looking at this legendary stone, I'll talk about legendary stones in a moment. This is by far the best. So for light uniques, we're looking at an Repay, and I believe we're looking at Emulation. Here we are. So, Repay, let's talk about this first. Recovers HP by 50%, 7.5 in PvP. First when being attacked, and reduces damage received by 12%, and increases the critical damage resistance by 25%. I want to go through the first bullet point. This is probably by far the only reason why you're ever going to pick Repay. That 12% DR that you get is invisible, which means it cannot be reduced and it cannot be tampered with. So this DR here means that you don't get it decreased by other variants such as Shah's whatever it was, Pulverize I believe it was, or whatever it's going to be, Celis DI for instance. The only reason why you do not take Repay is because critical damage resistance is never going to be used on an Irre. For you will well, in theory, you should never be crit. You should never be crit in theory. So just don't. I would avoid Repay unless you're going for like a legend back and you're just, you know, Cancer, and you just pick her because she's your waifu or something, whatever, you know. There are ways to build a DR Irre. Repay's probably the way to go, but I would not build a DR Irre specifically because her kit does not support it, and she does far better as a crit resistance goalkeeper. I've tried, guys, trust. So Emulation, this is interesting. Increases max HP by 35%, increases critical resistance by 25%. Dude, that sounds so good. 35% max HP. So if you have the DR for this, this increases your potential healing when you get shot at with her obvious... Sorry, pardon me. This increases her potential healing when she gets shot at, because obviously you're going to increase max HP. So you have to look at whether your the max HP is going to heal more than it is going to if you're going to run Stars Tiers, let's say. So you need to have a look at the fact that, let's say my Irre has 1000 HP, just because easy statistics, yeah? She has 1000 HP, I'm going to increase it by 35%, so it's 1350 HP. On being attacked in PvP, I get 10% of that, so 135 HP back, right? On every shot. Now that is potential HP, and now we want to look at the HP which you get from Stars Tiers, which is 7.5 plus the 10%, which is 17.5. So we're looking at 17.5. I need to bring a calculator because I'm bad at math. So 1.35 divided by... Oh my god, it's gone over my head. No, it's not divided by, it's times by point 0.175. One 350 divided by 8250. So she heals 16 on hit, according to my calculator. My calculator skills might be wrong, but yes, you can see what I mean. So potentially Emulation's max HP might have a better recovery rate than the Stars Tiers, so you need to have a look at that. It also depends on your HP pool, because obviously 17% numerically is better than 10%. However, you've got a bigger HP pool along with a bigger potential of HP with a less amount. So again, you'll need to do the maths yourselves. Unfortunately, I don't have your Irres. I've only got mine. Mine's Mono Whirlwind, so it's not the best. It's just subpar. And yeah, so that's the only stone I would ever take on that light slot. With dark stones, there's only one goalkeeper stone here, and that is Presti's Clockwork. Again, it's the same with you won't take critical damage resistance. Again, it's just counterintuitive on Irre, as obviously you're not supposed to be crit damaged, well, you know, critted. Max HP, as I've just explained on Emulation, it's whether or not that's going to be more or less. So yeah, guys, that's the end for me. This has been Aff signing out. GG, guys, and thank you for having me.